I think we have a problem. We have normalized credit card debt to the point where everybody thinks it's normal, and now everybody is broke and in a lot of debt.
I get some hate for this, but the girlies are messing up. No one told me how many of you are in credit card debt. I saw a TikTok the other day of this girl saying we need to start normalizing credit card debt, and everyone in the comments was agreeing with her. And I am not talking about debt because of student loans or because of medical reasons. These girls were genuinely several $1,000s in credit card debt because they shop too much.
Look, it's just like we have to draw the line somewhere. Somebody has to just say, enough is enough. It's okay not to have the latest of everything that you see online or that you see your friends have or you see your family have. It doesn't even matter who has it. There has to be a level of accountability and self-control, or else people are going to continue to dig themselves into deeper holes. Credit card debt is not a joke. So many people are struggling financially because they are trying to find the ways to get out of this. And it almost kind of feels like nowadays everybody is joking about it like it's not a big deal, but it is.
Reason you get a credit card is not just so you can have all this free money to spend on whatever you want.
And then it's not even free money. You have to pay this stuff back. You have to pay interest a lot of the time if you're paying after the statement dates. And yes, credit cards can be good for building credit, but if you're irresponsible with credit cards, it might be best to try to avoid them or to figure out how to be better with managing them before you just start swiping away.
Build credit so that banks know that you are a reliable person to lend money to when you want something expensive like a house or a car. If you're in debt, banks will not loan you money. And I think we can all agree that there is almost no way a person in our generation can afford a down payment on a house without a loan. So the girls are really telling me that Bottega Veneta bags, Chanel ballet flats, bought on a credit card bill that you can't pay off, that is worth more than potentially being able to pay for a house down the line? You should not be spending money you don't have, period. And no, credit card debt should never be normalized. If you are in credit card debt, stop spending your money on things you don't need. Like, I don't get it. Girls,
Now, it's a different conversation when we're talking about people who have gotten into credit card debt because they fell on hard times, they were struggling. That's a totally different conversation. Some people are quite literally living off of their credit cards because they just are reaching hard times in this economy. Maybe they've had some unemployment, whatever the case may be, right? Maybe some medical setbacks. But for people just doing it because they want to go buy bags or go on trips, or just keeping up with other people, it's not the same. You can reevaluate your situation and just stop the extra consumerism and the extra overconsumption and spending that you may be doing.
I have to do better. Come on. I don't know. This is just wild.
I'm an American living in Switzerland. I've been here for the last 10 months. And unfortunately, I was someone who fell into the American credit card debt pool very quickly and at a very young age, something I'm not extremely proud of, but
it's actually quite normal that people fall into the trap young. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's normal because a lot of people just don't know better. And it usually starts with the car. Student loans might be up next, but typically the cars get them.
It is what it is. Anyways, I live in Switzerland now and I have a credit card here. Within the last 10 months of living in Switzerland, I have received upwards of 20 emails and notifications from my credit card companies at home, Amex, Capital One, Discover, being like, oh, apply here, or update your income and see if you're eligible for a higher credit limit. I don't want one. They just take it upon themselves if you don't answer to just say, congratulations, you've been approved for a $10,000 increase. You are setting me up for failure. You know what my limit is in Switzerland? $5,000. You want to know what the interest rate on that is? 13%. You want to know what the average is? 29% in the US, 29%. You know how many times my credit card company in Switzerland has asked me if I want a credit increase? Zero. And we wonder why we're in debt because we set ourselves up for fucking failure.
I'm not even going to lie to you. They being the credit card companies, the loan agencies and all of that, would love for people to continue to go into debt because it's good for their business. It just is. They're not running off of thoughts and feelings and prayers. They're not. Symone, trying to keep you out of debt. Hit subscribe. Touch the screen.
Stop normalizing debt. Not everyone has it. You can live a life that is debt-free. Stop. I listen to people talk sometimes and it blows my mind that we have believed that being consumed with debt, that being stressed out about paying bills is a normal way of life. It is not. There are people that live without any type of debt. understand you can go on a vacation and come back and have everything fully paid.
Yeah, that's the only way I'm going. If we can't pay for it before we go, we don't need to be there. That's how I feel.
I saw a video of a gal talking about how normalizing credit card debt is extremely irresponsible. And as someone who has had credit card debt, has friends with credit card debt, and sees like the grander scope of the issue, I want to put my 2 cents in because this is not an individual issue. This is a systematic issue. These credit card companies are predatory on people who do not have financial literacy, are predatory on people who need the money now. They are set up to exploit these people. It would be a different conversation if we were taught in high school, the school that we're all required to go to. If we were taught financial literacy, how to do our taxes, how to manage money, that would be very different. But that is not the case. This education and information is kept from people intentionally in order to prey upon them. So I think this idea of, oh, well, it's just the individual's problem that they're in credit card debt. No, not necessarily. Given the current situation, look at the U.S. government. The U.S. government is in astronomical amounts of debt. Why is it a bad thing if I am? Why is it a bad thing if people have student loans?
Well, it's a bad thing for you because it's going to hinder you personally, and nobody's going to come save you personally if you put yourself into debt. So that's why it's going to be a bad thing for you. Now, I know a lot of people would just be like, oh, well, why is it so bad? We all live different lives based off of the decisions that we made. Some people have it harder right now because they are in loads of student loan debt. Some people have it really hard right now because they're in loans of consumer debt. These are personal choices. Do I agree that the education system does that on purpose to set the people up to not have financial literacy? Yeah. But do I think that they're going to care if you dig yourself into debt at the age of 18 because you wanted to go get a bunch of purses because you don't think that's a big deal because everybody else is in debt? No, they're not going to care. And that's why it's important that we have these sort of conversations online, because no matter what we think, no matter what we think should have happened, shoulda, coulda, woulda, you are going to get held accountable for whatever decisions you made, whether good, bad, or indifferent. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, that's not fair. Like, nobody taught me. I'm just telling you the truth. Nobody is going to care that nobody taught you. The people who want to prey on the fact that you lack knowledge will prey on the fact that you lack knowledge. And that's why a lot of people put in videos out of their stories and how much hardship they've had to experience are helpful to people who have not experienced it yet. A lot of people take it as a moment to sit back and laugh at people, not understanding that this is the information that will help a lot of people not repeat the same mistakes. It's never to laugh at people or a ha-ha moment, you know? A lot of us don't find out stuff in life until we're in the situation. And then whether we decide to share that information with other people or not is how we're able to help other people not repeat the same mistakes. So even when she's talking about the student loan thing, well, if you are being told like, yeah, just go to college and everything's going to be kumbaya, that's not true. I know a lot of people want to think stuff like that is true, but it's just not. You have to be very strategic about what you're going to college for, because at the end of the day, unless you come from money, unless you have scholarships or ways to pay that money back, you will be expected. Do you know that student loan debt is one of the debts that you cannot put on bankruptcy? You will have to pay that money back. These are real life hardships that people have to face each and every day. And they made these decisions when they were 18. Some people when they were 17, going into college. And guess what? They are in their 30s now and nobody cares. And everybody around them is like, oh, well, I did the same thing and I did what they told me to do. I thought it was right. And guess what? Where are the people that are coming out the woodworks to save any of them? They're not there. So that's why we need to have these conversations openly and honestly.
It's not morally good nor bad. It is morally neutral. This idea that people need to be able to break out of the system and no longer be like preyed upon. These systems are built with such backing to prey upon these people. The individual has very limited power to break the cycle.
And I understand where she's coming from. But now in this generation, where we currently stand in 2025, there is so much information readily available online. Now, about 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I would be like, heck yeah, it's hard to even find somebody that had this sort of knowledge. Especially where I came from, I didn't hear people just talking about this sort of stuff. But with new developments in technology, ChatGPT, AI, whatever you want to call it, and people sharing their stories, whether on TikTok, YouTube, books, wherever you want to, audio books, information is out there. We got to start asking ourselves, what are we prioritizing? What are we taking in every day? Are we feeding into the consumerism? Are we feeding into the idea that we need everything now? Are we feeding into the idea that credit card debt is normal? Are we feeding into the idea that, well, it shouldn't be that way, so it just is what it is? What are you feeding into?
Can you get financial literacy? Can you get a higher paying job? Can you minimize your expenses? Yes, all of those things you can do, but only to some degree, not to the same degree that these credit card companies are preying on people.
The credit card companies are going to do what the credit card companies do. It's just her idea. I get where she's coming from, but I see it like this. Here's a good analogy. I get all of these telemarketing stuff in the mail every single day. I get these ads like for mattresses, for grills, all sorts of home equipment, all of this fancy stuff that I know I don't need, right? And guess what I do? They're going to do their thing as far as advertisers, as far as businesses, trying to get me to get their product, right? But it's up to me. It's up to me to open up that page and say, yeah, I'm going to go there and get that grill. I'm going to go there and put this on credit. That's my choice. Yes, they're going to advertise to me, but I also have the ability to say no. I also have willpower. I also can say, I don't want to participate. I can say, hey, instead of spending my money over there, I'm going to put it into the stock market. I can do whatever I want to do. We do have a choice. And I just don't want people to feel like you're doomed or you have no other choice but to be buried in debt. And in the general sense of things, will more people probably fall victim because of the systems that are set up that she's talking about? I think she's right. Yeah, that probably more likely will happen because the information that is being put out, I don't think it's going to be sought out just as much as people's desires, as much as the things that are being presented to them that they can just get if they are going into a bunch of debt. You're not being presented with financial literacy at the same rate that you're being presented with all of these dangling carrots, all of the shiny things that you can go out and buy and dig yourself into debt about. And because of that, I still agree with what she's saying. The machine she's talking about is very large, but the more people out here trying to help people understand not to fall victim, the better chance society has, in my opinion. The more people in debt and working because they've put themselves in debt, the more that it ends up cycling in a big circle and keeping them on a hamster wheel because now they got to pay back all this debt. And then it ends up putting some people in an even worse situation because people are like, I need money now. And then whatever they need money now for, they're going to go get more debt. And that is the cycle you don't want to go in. That's why if you can, even if it means that, hey, you got to go get you a little side job to build it up, you should be trying to figure out how to get an emergency fund so you don't have to put yourself in these sort of situations. Because what I see, and from all the videos I ended up reviewing, and then also just from real life situations, is people end up putting themselves into debt because an emergency came up and they were like, oh, I didn't have no money and I need money right now. So they'll go get that credit card. They'll go get a loan and they won't even think twice about it. They'll think about it later because whatever is going on right now is more pressing than the fact that they're going to be in some debt.
As someone that is young living in New York City, I really think we should stop prioritizing materials and start focusing on the big goals. When I started making like real money, I spent my money on luxury. I spent my money on traveling, vacations, spent my money on beauty.
What she's describing to me sounds like a lot of people. I want to know down below, can any of y'all relate to what she's saying?
I don't really have anything in a Roth IRA. I don't have anything. Like, I used to trade stocks and do crypto and this and that. I had to sell everything because I went bankrupt. Now that I'm finally stabilizing myself and I'm back in school and I'm trying to just think of the big picture, we need more financial literacy, especially in the minority group. Like, there's so many of us that don't know how to handle our finances or make like good financial choices. Right now, right? It's the holidays. Back then, during the holidays, I would like splurge. I'll buy a new coat, buy designer shoes. I'll go crazy. Mind you, I still live in my mom's crib. I'm like thousands of dollars in debt. You see what I mean? Like, my priorities are not right. I don't know if it's because of my environment. Of course, you're around so much young people, especially in the minority group. Like, everybody is flexy, so you feel like you need the best coat. You feel like you need the best shoe. I'm at a point in life where I just don't care anymore. Like,
look, I hope a lot of y'all get to that point in life where you don't care anymore. It's so freeing. Let me tell you, I'm a person that has not cared for a long time about what it looked like to everybody else. I care more about what it is. And I hope more people do start to care about what it is. Nobody really cares what you're wearing. Nobody cares what you're driving. Nobody cares what you got going on. Honestly, everybody's out in the world trying to figure it out, trying to get their own stuff going on. If people don't like how you look, oh well. Like, this ain't no fashion show. This is real life. People got stuff to do. People got jobs to work. People got money to make.
Don't care. So I was gonna buy a new coat for my Christmas present to myself. I'm really the problem. This is what consumerism is all about. Just buying things that you don't need. I have like 5-6 coats. And I'm here thinking about, should I buy another Macaj? Am I insane? There is no way I'm going to be able to finally have my own apartment and have this big dreams and goals if I keep spending and keep going the way that I'm going.
Look, I'm glad that she understands because that is absolutely true. There's going to have to be some sacrifice on the way for the things that you want. If anything in this life is worth having, you're going to have to sacrifice something. And I think a lot of people ain't ready to sacrifice, but it's necessary. Whether you got to like buckle down and really focus or save some money, you got to do whatever you got to do to reach your goal. And unless you got somebody that's about to help you 1,000% along the way, it's going to fall on you to do that.
If I keep prioritizing all these luxurious items and materials, like, I'm not going to reach the full realistic goal. Stop spending your money on BS. Like, you can get that later when you're rich. And maybe I'm just talking on my ass because I've already been able to experience vacations and I've already been able to experience luxurious items. But when I'm telling you it doesn't really fulfill much, you will feel more fulfilled when you're actually rich and you actually have so much money and you're buying all these things and it doesn't hurt you or make even a smallest dent in your pockets. What are your goals in life? How will this spending go towards your goal? Yeah. It's time to think, y'all. It's time to grow up. We are adulting. Life is only getting harder. The world economy is getting only worse. We gotta change our mindset. We gotta change our focus. I look crazy right now, but I really had to spread that mess.
She said she looked crazy right now. Crazy really looks like she's a model. It's nuts. But I agree with what she said, and I appreciate her for sharing her perspective. Y'all, let me know. Have we now normalized debt to the point that everybody is walking around broke? Do you think credit card debt is a personal responsibility? But we have to start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.